Oh my goodness. Welcome Monday to our Monday meeting. Welcome Monday bunch. Good morning. I love the chat. Y'all have like some extra energy or something. The chat's kind of popping this morning. It's just feeling so good. That's fun. It's good to see y'all. Welcome. Welcome. You already know what direction you're taking this week. Some of you are like, I've got my plan in place. You're here. You're here to get this page finished up, get set up for the week. I love what Carla says. She's gonna Pomodoro the heck out of her bathroom this week. Love that. I love that. So, hey, welcome. I saw some names in the chat that are not usually here on Monday morning. So maybe you have the holiday off or you're just joining us for, the very first time. But it's really good to see you. And if there's anybody here and this is your very first social, drop that in the chat because we do want to give you a welcome. And I always say this Monday morning bunch, like we're a little consistent bunch, right? Like pretty much the same folks from week to week to week to week. So anyway, oh my goodness, oh, Michelle, you've got a frost coming. Oh, I want that. So, yeah, Mags, we're glad you're here. There are many of us who do multiple socials for setup. Some of it is just for the community and to be connected and to, use each other's knowledge in setting this up. And I love it. Yeah, I guess spot on Mondays. So if you are a guest spot on Mondays, we're really glad that you're here and we welcome you. Yeah, we've got October. May the O in October stand for all those wonderful things: open doors, overflowing mindfulness, all those lovely little things. Make sure your chat says everyone, so that way we can communicate with one another. It looks like most of us, the majority of us, have been here before, so you know about the community guidelines. We won't spend much time there, but just that reminder that we do create safe spaces for ourselves and for each other. So yeah. And Nicole, you can get your people fix here maybe this morning. Just be in the chat with us. I know you miss your people. So we have this exclusive this month. It is coming up now, right? Like we're mid-October. So we want to make sure that we call out to that. That's going to be a good one. Really aligns well with our theme of resilience this month about those childhood wounds. And I've said when we first learned that this was coming out, I was watching like a daytime show and somebody said, adulthood is the time we spend recovering from childhood. So there's a little bit of truth to that, right? And so I think that one's going to be a really good one. If you're not able to make it and you want to watch the replay, go ahead and sign up for it, and you'll get the link for that exclusive. But also, a shout out to if you are on the coaching app, the Life Plan app, there is a vault that contains all the past exclusives. And so that's part of your membership to use that life map. So I don't know. I want to make sure y'all recognize that you're able to do that. And then if you'll look in the chat really quickly, Jennifer Kripner, who is on the call with me this morning, Team Jennifer's usually here on most Mondays. She's gonna pop on and give you a wave. She put a link to Bailey's in-person Silk and Sonder event there. So if you're in the Tennessee area, I'm laughing. I'm thinking, wonder if I ought to think about a solo trip. Just get in my car and go to Tennessee. But if you're in that area and you'd like to be part of that in person, that would be so much fun in Tennessee. All right, there's that graphic I keep showing. I love, love, love this graphic because that is to me what resilient is. Like we just keep going and sometimes we don't know that we're almost through whatever it is that we're trying to get through, right? The cloud covers there. But just keep going, keep climbing, and you can do it and not even know it. You just use that oomph that's deep down inside. And oh, yes, Carla, I love the navies with that kind of apricot. I think those colors are so beautiful. You know the routine. If you've been to a setup before, we're going to do that mind map, our rosebud thorn reflection, and we'll talk about our weekly setup pages. And I know some of you are here because you know what you're going to do, but this is your cadence. This is your accountability. So look up every once in a while. There might be an idea that you see, but you've carved out this appointment to be with your community and to sit with your journal. And for that, we're very proud of you. So let's go ahead and turn to pardon me, to that mind map page, wherever you set that up. Um, and then, oh, thank you, Megan. Thanks for noticing. Yeah, I went a little bit shorter. I thought, okay, I'm crossing my fingers that this means I don't have to wear a ponytail because the weather's going to cool. Because I keep it a little bit longer so I can just put it all up. So thank you. I haven't had it this short in a bit, so it feels so sassy. I'm feeling sassy. Anyhow, so yeah, we've been looking at this idea of resilience all month. And y'all know I've talked about how beautiful it was to explore bravery and then jump into resilience because it does take bravery to become resilient, right? You've got to figure that out and be brave. So, this was week one's reflection. If you weren't with us, if this is your first time to look at this, a mind map is your bonus journal prompts for coming to the weekly setups. And you don't have to catch up, but if you'd like to maybe screenshot this, you can maybe think about this one. This was from week one about the things that helps us feel steady, grounded, and strong within ourselves. And we looked at rituals, relationships, beliefs, habits, those things. I mean, right, this journal, that's a biggie. So kind of our anchors, right? Excuse me. Then last week it was like, how have I expanded or evolved? So kind of a look back with reverence and with a lot of love, self-love about, a challenge that we had and then how we faced it and how we survived and kind of sort of looking about what did we learn about ourselves by going through that challenge? What made us resilient? And then week three, here we are. What inner resources or gifts do I tap into when I need momentum? And so we're going to kind of frame it out by thinking about those tough seasons. It's not always grit that carries us. I love grit. I love that word grit, but it could also be joy, connection, purpose, creativity. So think about what powers you forward. It's going to be different for all of us. And when you're thinking about that, we want you to think about this through the lens of your superpowers that you call upon. Optimism, empathy, calm presence. How might you nurture or share one of those this week? And so I love this graphics. I want y'all to, put your superhero stance on and start thinking about what are your superpowers. Now, if you're having sometimes it's a little hard to talk about ourselves through this beautiful lens. Maybe we've been pushed down a lot in our life, and it is hard for us to climb up and say, this is who I am. I am confident in my superpowers, and here's what they are. I want you to dig deep this morning to find those superpowers. If this is a little struggle for you, think about what are your core values because your core values are going to align with your superpowers. Also, it's always good to maybe step back and think about what someone who knows you well would say about your superpowers. So, somebody who loves you, it could be your life partner, it could be your BFF at work, it could be your BFF in real life. If they said, here's what your superpowers are, what do you think they would say? That's always a nice way to look at that lens of when we're calling out our strengths. So I'm going to put on some music while you work on week three's mind map. If you're just joining us, jump in with us. We just started working on this. And as things come up for you, share in the chat because that may inspire somebody else to go, oh, you know what? Me too. I would say one of my superpowers, I try not to be all Pollyanna, but I really do try to spin things in with sunshine. Like what's, okay, it's a thorn, but what can I learn from it? That kind of thing. And another thing I'm really good at is I'm kind of a mess most of my life. I've got stuff everywhere and I'm just a little flibberty gibbet with all the things I want to do. But when there's a crisis, man, phew, I can dial in, focus, stay calm, get her done. I fall apart later, but I always felt like that was my superpower. So, like when the kids got stitches, I'm the one who did that, right? Like I took my kids and then I called my husband. Everything's okay. Let me tell you what happened. And then I'd fall apart later. But I'm cool, calm, and collected in a crisis, and I think that's a superpower. So those are a couple that I jumped on. Yeah, Reverend Joy, I keep on keeping on. So let's think about this and share in the chat because you're going to inspire one another. I know. I can't wait to see what you all write. I'm loving seeing some of these names that are not here on Monday morning. This is so much fun. Yes, and I'll go back through all three of those, Megan. Now, remember, when we work on these mind maps, they don't have to be answered like completely right now. This could be something that can, I always say, marinate in your mind as you are going through the week. And you may realize as you are just kind of moving forward with your day-to-day routine, that you something bubbles up and you're like, "Oh, well, that's definitely one of my superpowers." It could be also like kindness. Are you that person who will put a shopping basket back at the grocery store, so that it's not rolling freely in the parking lot? Or you always yield on the road to let someone in instead of bearing down on the gas pedal, or that you look it with intention and make eye contact with folks through your day-to-day interaction, like at the cashier, how you doing, how you doing, do you really like engage and make eye contact? I mean, that right there could be a superpower. So, I know that, and all of you can put uplifters because the stuff in the chat is so good. So, yeah, I like the idea of kind of tooting our own horn and looking at those things that make us who we are. And they can be these small things, but remember, I love the image of throwing a little pebble in a big body of water that is as still as could be, and then watching the ripple effect go forward. And so these small superhero acts, you just don't know what that can do, out in that world. So be thinking about this throughout the week as you move forward. So now it's time for our rosebud thorn reflection, and you're going to find this week's on page. I got to make sure I'm right, 36. And so this is the time when we do this little look back over our week. We celebrate those things that we are proud of, or something that just made us smile. They can be small moments. We had fall break at the camp house with the littles this weekend, and their parents came too. But we had so much fun. We painted pumpkins and we're trying to fish, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful time. That was my very positive thing from last week. It was also a little bit, a little bit of a thorn because I'm so tired, but that's okay. Then you look at what could bloom, what's coming down the pipe. Is it just a new fresh week and claiming this week to be a new restart? Things that you're looking forward to. I have been working on some baby quilts and I finished 5 tops. I got them all pieced together. These go to newborns in our church. And so I'm kind of a little ahead of the game, and I'm really proud of that. And I'm looking forward to colder weather so I can sit and quilt to put them all together. And then my thorn was the challenge for me. I'm talking ad nauseum about how warm it is in Texas. But I found a new term. It's called, instead of autumn, we have autumn. So that's just my thorn. I'm just ready for the cool weather and for it to really feel like this change of season, saying goodbye to some heat, having hot tea instead of iced tea, that kind of stuff. So, anyway, so let's put on some music, and we're gonna, and one other thing while we're working on this. Y'all, it's kind of hard to believe, but in 2 days, like it's the 15th, like we're midweek, mid-month right now. So while we're working on this, I'm gonna give you a little extra music today. I want you to go back, or yeah, go, are we, no, go to page 39 and kind of review your currently page. And are there some things you want to plug in here about what you're currently wishing for, reading? What are you watching? This is a very good reminder of, let's do a self check in mid-month and see how things are going. And I want to encourage you also, while we're doing this currently, like what's going on currently, go look at your intentions and your habit tracker. And if you have some big spaces left in your habit tracker, that's some feedback for you that maybe this habit wasn't set to meet your intentions for the month, right? And give yourself permission to go in and just write a different habit in there. Change things up so that you can feel successful. Remember, those empty spaces are data also. So don't feel bad about it. I want you to give yourself that grace. But let's do kind of that mid-month check-in, because believe it or not, we're almost halfway through October. So we'll work on these 2 pages. Share in the chat as things come up for you, and then we'll get on with the rest of our setup. I think one of my favorite things about this page is when we talk about what we're reading, and then I start writing down more books to put on my Goodreads list. So I hope that gave you some reflection time to kind of do that mid-month check-in if you need to wait and do it later in the week. But I do encourage you to just sort of take an evaluation, get a pulse on what you said you wanted for the month and then what's actually really happening for the month. So we're going to now jump into our pages 40 and 41 to set up week. Are you ready? 42. We are on the 10-week countdown through 2025. I mean, in that crazy 10 weeks left. So we're really, it's amazing that we are already 10 weeks countdown to the end of the year. Crazy. So you've seen this slide before. These are lots of ways to repurpose these spaces. If you are looking for other ideas, grab a screenshot of this really quickly, but I've also got some great examples to show you. And I know many of you, again, already have your cadence set up. You know what you're going to do, but this is your appointment with yourself. We always like to start with how do we want to feel this week? Now, you may have the same thing going on. It could be resilient. You could be grabbing onto the theme. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Lot, words, phrases, mantras, poems, a sticker, that one thing you want to focus on, maybe something that's coming every single week this month, you're using that word, your word of the year. Cheryl is saying she jumped in immediately, rested. I want to feel rested. I think you've got your goal set for the week. Reverend Joy Ellen says happy. So yeah, y'all think about how you want to feel, in a week from now. Proactive. Let's take these feelings into our week. And I've got a couple of examples to show you. I always say this is show and tell time. We've got two examples here from y'all. And if I'm using any of your stuff, tell us in the chat so we can give you a thank you. But as you can see, the one on the left, the habit and activity is just belief in yourself. And I love that, right? Like maybe somebody said the other day that their the big habit tracker wheel is what they do like for self. And then the weekly one is the habits and activities. They use that for their work life. And so I love that. So, maybe that you're going to put more focus on your habit tracker and leave this one alone this week. Or maybe you just write one habit and activity and it says go look at your habit tracker. You can see their major goals are really, it's more of their to-dos, and they've made a fun little bingo. I don't know, there's just something about green and orange together, right? It just pops. And then they kind of have their appointments for the weeks in their to-do box. The one on the right, they also have done a to-do bingo in their to-do box. And then their major goals is their list of to-dos. And then when you drop down, their habits and activities all point back to their intention page. So, it looks, I'm not sure what calendar activity that could be, Sonder Club, but they've got like, their physical health and their home management and their money management. So they are tying those things directly back to the intentions that they set. So I love those. We'll look at some three major goals, the setting up this space. Again, you've seen this before. I think, like we said, there's probably maybe 100% of us have been to these before. But, we talk about no goals, the no and how you're going to set boundaries for things that aren't serving you. Kind of once I hit week 3, I sort of go backward and see what's undone. Sometimes that drives my goals for the week. And then you can also do a personal challenge. Somebody said this week is a soup challenge, and I'm gonna, my 3 goals are 3 different soups. And so they're doing it that way. Sometimes it's really nice to think about this feeling that we've said that we're wanting to encompass and then setting goals to support that feeling. We can see a couple of examples of that. Look at the second one kind of in the middle. Two major goals, and it's work and it's home. And that's the goal. Those are those categories that they're focusing on this week. The one next to it, it looks like they're setting themselves up for five major things this week. So it's really about taking what you need, obviously. We always do that. The one here on the upper left, they've got their morning, evening routine, and then connection with someone. Those are their three goals. And then they've asked themselves a question to make that happen. And that's a good reflection. um, three goals: move, body, hydrate, meditate. And then how does that happen? So very easy, easy to set those up. Boom, 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 three things. And then we can repurpose this space if we're not feeling setting goals. So like we saw in those examples, they did some bingos, they made a list. There's some ideas to repurpose. If you repurpose any your goal space on a regular, let us know what you're doing. Drop that in the chat right now. Lots of folks will use this space as kind of that rhythm and routine of their day. So sort of like the one on the right there, that morning routine. Oftentimes if I get off of my routine, I put my morning routine here and my evening routine in the shopping list, and then it's front and center looking at me. The major goals have been filled out. There's really one major goal for this person, and it was self care, and then a list of how they're going to do that self care. And lots of good things on that self care list. Then we jump into the to dos, and sometimes those to dos come directly out of those goals. When we do a to-do list, we want to keep it as concrete as possible. Set yourself up, really hone down in. It's almost like thinking about a SMART goal. We want it very specific. Give your to-dos a priority. That's where like something like the Eisenhower matrix, which I have a graphic of, will come in handy to really get those main things done. Plan time. So set some timers, put times in your journal, set it on your phone. Give yourself an allotted amount of time, 10 minutes in the kitchen, and then go and work as fast and quickly as you can. And then you'll get a lot done that way. And try to group your tasks. So, like your errand day, make sure that don't run errands every single day. Maybe think about Wednesday's going to be errand day, and I'm going to do all the running around at that time while I'm out and about, and try to, be anyway, very, very focused on that. You can see how a couple of these to-dos are set up. We've got a morning and evening routine in one of them. And then here's the examples of taking those goals and tying the to-dos into them. Um, and you can see that the one at the top is a little bingo board to just kind of gamify. We love bingos and being able to mark things off in a fun way. There's the Eisenhower matrix. And many of you, that number three box is sort of known as the delegate box. What can you take off of your plate? Sometimes that's hard if you're in a single household. It is okay to let other people help you. And sometimes that looks like the Walmart shopper doing your groceries for you, right? So or maybe getting a meal delivery. And then in the delete box, sometimes the things, if they're like, for me, if it's on my to-do list, it needs to happen. It is important, not super important, but if it made it to the list, I need it to happen. So I want you to think about maybe what distracts you from taking care of your to-do list, and putting that in that not important, not urgent, that delete or that drop box. Like mindless scrolling, I go check Facebook, and before I know it, an hour's gone. Those distractions in your life could be popped up into that delete box, that number 4 box, right? Okay. If you're feeling like I've got so much to do, I don't know what to do, maybe you assign it a 10-minute time slot like you see here. And these are all 10-minute tasks or less. And this graphic was so good. And I was telling Jen, I actually The third from the last, on the over there on the right, clean out your purse. I did that. It took me 3 minutes, but I had stuff in there from August, like receipts and the crumblies at the bottom, and it felt so good to tackle that. So I will come back and hold on this slide, or you can grab a screenshot because these really are some good 10-minute things that'll give you that boost of, yeah, I did it, I accomplished it. And you could also, yeah, to Chris, no telling what's living down there, right? The bottom of the purse. But what's great about this is setting a time. It's like the Pomodoro technique. Jen just dropped the link there. We talk about that. That's time setting, working under a timer. It can really, really boost your own morale when you accomplish these tasks in small chunks. So highly recommend that. The tomato squashing technique. There you go. And then maybe you don't need a bunch of to-dos. Maybe this is a week you need to be, because we do talk a whole lot about all the things that we need to do. And sometimes rest needs to come into play. Rest is an activity. And sometimes we really need to focus on what we need to be. Things seem heated in this world right now in so many ways. And so maybe focusing on some things like becoming curious, and what does that look like? And it could mean that it's a trip to the library, or focusing on being generous. And perhaps you start thinking about the end of the year and your holiday gift giving and meaningful gifts, and sit with that. What does it look like to be considerate of others this week? And perhaps, some of this really ties in to our mind map, and all of these things really are superpowers if you think about how to be. So perhaps you meander through some of the superpowers on this to be list for your to do, or this could show up maybe in your mind body health plan, or something like that. The tomato squashing. Well, pomodoro is actually Italian for tomato, and the technique came up from the little tomato timer, and it's setting yourself up with 25 minutes of focused work time, and then taking a break, and then another 20. And so we it's kind of fun to call that the tomato squash. That squashes those things to do. I think that's what you're asking about, Mary Ellen. But yeah, Pomodoro was taken from those little red tomato timers. That's kind of where it originated. This stressful to-do list. This is a great to-do list. Gosh, tell someone I love you. Like maybe, on your tracker, this could be something that you do, and you reach out to somebody. Take a time out. Put yourself in time out, grown-ups. Trash negative thoughts. So lots of beautiful things. I just think, we need to be mindful of ways to soothe our soul during these times. Yes, and Chris, take the screenshots, and remember this is also being recorded. So you can go back and grab them that way too. They get posted pretty quickly. The idea of the to-do list, leave this to-do list blank, and as you do things, put your to-do list somewhere else, and then as you do all the extras, go put them here and celebrate that, or celebrate when you mark something off the to-do list. It could go in a to-do box, or just a good quote. And then we have the habit and activity tracker that's at the bottom of this page. And we've got some suggestions, maybe some new habits that you want to put in that space. But again, lots of ways to set this up. Here's a couple of no goal type related habits and activities. The one on the left is super. The one that's on the right of that was my Just Say No week. That's actually one of my very old examples. I did it, I gamified it and did 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So a countdown. 1 day of no social media. That's about all I can stomach. I'm just too engaged with people to not do it. But one's better than none, right? down at the bottom, look at those affirmations. I love setting those habits and activities up with just these strong affirmative statements. So perhaps we take our superpower and use it in that way. And then the one on the bottom right is three things. And look at those activities: laughing, kissing, and hugging, honest recording of all food and exercise, and an act of kindness to someone unexpectedly. And just going to track when those things show up for that person. And then here you can see, folks, you can circle the days you need something to happen. The one over there on the upper right where it says tidy, and they are using TIDY as, kind of an acrostic to do that. And they're actually tracking with stickers, but you could track with the word. And I know lots of you have done that before. You've done like home or love or smile or whatever. And so you sort of use those letters, and your goal is to write that word down your column every day, so that you did that. And the one at the bottom, you can see they want to meditate twice a day, and so they've taken those spaces and have divided it into an AM and PM space. So I'm going to stop talking. We're going to go back through all these slides one more time. If you saw something you love, grab a screenshot, and then we'll go to the next page and finish up. All righty. So, as you are finishing up this page. Some of you have shared. I love Chris has leaned into alliteration this week. So lots of C words there. I love that. That's kind of fun and it helps keep it fresh in your mind as you are kind of looking at what you want this week to bring you. And so now that we've sort of got a roadmap for page one, let's go look at the B side, and that's what Katie, our facilitator friend, calls this second page. And this is the page I'm going to show you lots of graphics and lots of things that you can do with these spaces, but this is very interchangeable. So you may find that your meal plan works better for you in the shopping list because you only plan like the big main meal of the day, right? It's about taking what you need and then you repurpose that meal plan space. Because we love those big juicy boxes, right? That we always say it takes up good real estate. It's got those that good space in there to write. So I'm going to go through lots of examples and then we'll put on some music so you can set up this page. um, the one on the left was actually linked into Yom Kippur and preparing the meals that would be eaten, but also with like the theme of the day. So I love that root and restore, seasonal simplicity, mindful midweek, gathered harvest. And the reason I wanted to share this because it's already passed, but I love like there are some things coming up with like the week of Thanksgiving. What does it look like if we focus our meals around that theme of being thankful? Or as we start an Advent journey, or as we celebrate the Hanukkah season, if we sort of do a little focus with the foods that we're eating. So I loved that. Right. And Carla, yes, beautiful, beautiful menu plan. You can see their mind body health plan is also about what they're physically doing for their body, which I love. And then their shopping list is a shopping list. The one on the right, I love the meal plan. It's tell me something good. So, kind of that daily reflection of what was the good part of the day. Their appointments go in their mind body health plan, and then they put some goals and some hopes in their shopping list. And then, of course, we've got the I am loving space. So, this calendar I shared, I'm going to keep it up through the end of the month. But it's about being optimistic in October, which I think that's a superpower, but that's also something that we're kind of missing right now in this world. And so, you could pick and choose a few of these things to maybe go in your mind body health plan. But or just pick, 7 for this week and you could repeat those same 7 for next week or whatever you need. But this is a really good graphic. There are some really sweet, beautiful, mindful things on here, and it's not necessarily about go 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 do 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 and accomplish accomplish accomplish. It's really about being mindful. So I love that. Like take a no, what is let's see. Today is the 13th. Ask for help to overcome an obstacle you are facing. That right there could set up your whole week, right? We're so bad about asking for help. So I'll be sure to hold on this a little bit longer when we're going through so you can get a screenshot of that if you want to use that in your journal. Every once in a while, I'll throw in this 1 week digital declutter challenge. I think that's good for us to kind of clean up that digital stuff that's cluttering up our lives. So that's a beautiful way of breaking it down into days. And then maybe you give yourself 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, and you're already that much ahead of that declutter. You could also do a mindfulness reflection, like the 1 week of gratitude. Yeah, I might need to digitally declutter all of my Silk and Sonder graphics that I've saved. Here are the 7 types of rest. Someone's found the hole punch to fit the journal. I'm gonna look into this and maybe post it in Sonder Club because I'm no gatekeeping, right? But they've made this little card that they can move from week to week to remind themselves of ways to rest. We forget that that's so important to us. The meal plan can be set up as a meal plan, like you see that example there. They're tracking their tea, coffee, and water intake by color coding the droplets there, but there's a ton of other ways you can set it up. I've been using this graphic. I think I'm just going to keep it up through October, maybe November, but perhaps you use it as a doodle challenge. And then maybe if you do the doodle, then you go actually on a scavenger hunt and look for that somewhere in your life. So I love that, love, love, love that. And you don't have to draw, you can just do the words. Um, I have to go look up how to draw a fire. I can't just do it. Lots of different ways to repurpose this space. Like you see, there's a little journal reflection there. The second one, the first one is just their plan for the week. The third one's a plan for the week. And then we've got poems of our life on the right there. Quotes, one good thing, big focus of the day, mind body health plan. Again, I'm just keep telling y'all it's important to rest. So we want to make sure that we're finding ways to put that somewhere in here. And then we've got some little self-care ideas for any of these spaces. Again, it's not just like the face masks or getting your nails painted. It's really about this mindset and this mindfulness that we can embrace. And so that self-care today might be the bingo that you put on your shopping list if you're in the bingo crowd. I've been putting this daily dose up. A lot of you like to frame something out, one of these spaces out by embracing those good hormones and chemicals that can saturate our brain. And dopamine is that hit that we get. And unfortunately, sometimes we become addicted to the wrong kind of dopamine. So that's where like that mindless scrolling comes in. We're getting that dopamine, but it leaves us depleted. There are ways to get a good dopamine hit, and there's a few listed there. That's that reward chemical. But we also want to make sure we're getting the oxytocin, and we're being mindful to put things in our week that bring us oxytocin and serotonin and endorphins, those good things. That's so good, good, good for you. And then where did I struggle? That's a good reflection, right? And then conversely, with that, you might want to pair it with, and how did I show my resilience through that struggle? Eat the rainbow. We love to do that. I usually track my rainbow foods, but this person's kind of like, here's what you can choose from this week, and here's what it's going to do for you, how it's healthy for you. If you're eating yellow, you're getting your vitamin C and lutein. So I love that. Vibrant food equals vibrant life. Nicole, I grabbed your favorite showgirl lyrics because I thought it was beautiful. We love to talk about how lyrics can inspire our week. But you might notice I covered up a word. And then, make a chart, make a check-in list, lots of different ways to do your mind, body health. Oh, and did y'all see the little yoga girl? I love that. Down dog. And then the shopping list, same thing. Put here what you need. Lots of us love the bingo boards, and there's some weekly intentions. The halt method, you can grab that. I've been talking about that one this month. I'll keep that one in here. And then finally, what are you loving? I'm going to stop talking. We're running out of time. I'm going to put on some music and go back through these slides. Grab a shot if you saw something that you love. Yeah, Kimberly L. I know that, we used to not do a mind map. And so when we added the mind map, it does make these a little tight. So I am so glad that you all made time on this. Maybe it's a holiday for you. Thank you for being here. And don't go. Jennifer's dropping a bunch of things in the chat is for you, those links. Um, so that you can go back and get a recording, all that stuff. But we're really glad. We'd love to see your weekly setup posted on Instagram, in Sonder Club, all that good stuff. Again, another shout out for our, the exclusive that's coming up, and then there's the playlist for today, and I will drop that in the chat as we say goodbye. Y'all have such a good week. I'm so proud of you for showing up this morning. Thanks for being with us, Sonder family.
I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaken, but I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. It ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going.